U-Sports on CBC, présenté by l'U-Sport à Radio-Canada, une présentation du gouvernement du Canada, the Government of Canada. Nike, Fox 40, Theraburn Medical Supply, Les Bagues Baron Rings, et par and by BioSteel.
That's embarrassing. You know it's not embarrassing? Using FIG for a home improvement loan. A quick, simple, and transparent offer in minutes. Borrow better with FIG.
Le sport en direct sur icitout.tv. 100% énergie. 100% gratuit. Votre meilleur plan de match pour voir des performances exceptionnelles sur l'appareil de votre choix. C'est icitout.tv.
Thirsty? With 5 essential electrolytes and 0 sugar, BioSteel is the game changer you've been looking for. All of the good stuff with no extras and no gimmicks. Just clean, healthy hydration. Trusted by pro athletes since 2009. Steel sharpens steel.
It's not just about the victory. It's about the moments leading up to it. BioSteel, the fuel behind every victory.
Hey U-Sports fans, check out shop.usports.ca for this week's promotional item from the Nike Team Collection. Visitez le shop.usport.ca pour en profiter de la promotion de la semaine de la collection Nike Team.
It's that moment again, the one you dream of every night. La seule chose qui te préoccupe, c'est la gloire, le cheminement de la réussite, of pushing yourself further than ever before. But the true glory is in the shadows. Les sacrifices que tu fais, quand toutes les chances sont contre toi, when you can't push one more second, chase the glory. Visez haut.
25:05, the top entry time coming into this heat. And a great swim out of lane 4. That's Wetzlock, and she'll go 25:04. Fastest time in the morning so far, just outside of that 24-second barrier. 25:39 for Hardiman, takes second. We get up ready for our 6th and final heat of the women's 50 freestyle. This is heat 6. We saw records fall yesterday morning. We might see another one here at a lane 4. Isla Sanchez has had a great meet so far. She's your Canadian senior record holder at 23:71. Youth Sport Championship record at 24:25. And a great prelim swim so far, just outside of it in the morning at 24:36. With Isla Sanchez, but that will lock up the top spot in tonight's final. Anticipated leading the way is Isla Sanchez at 24:36 with a whole lot of 25s right behind her. Julianne Moore leading the way in the D final at 25:57 and what is going to be a really close race all the way down to the tie in 15. Meadow Liversuch leading the way in a tie at 25th as well in the 53. A lot of 26-22s on the board. next, this is event 14, men's 50 freestyle, heat 1. Representative from Lethbridge and Calgary to the admin desk. One more time, Lethbridge and Calgary to the admin desk. Five heats on the way in the men's 50 freestyle. Leading the way in 5 right now, that's Isaac Allen out of Western University. He'll go 22.67 out of heat 1. Big opening 50 to kick things off the men's 53 from Allen as we get set for heat 2. McMaster University's Josiah Breaststroke leads the way in this heat at 23-14, but a lot of 23-1s in the middle of the pool. It looks like it's going to be lane 2 at 22. They are almost tied halfway through this first heat of 4. You have a disqualification to report. Event 14, heat 4, lane 8 on the start. Event 14, heat 4, lane 8 on the start. Representatives from University of Lethbridge and Calgary to the admin desk. Lethbridge and Calgary to the admin desk. Jessica Babar is putting together a great second 100 here. Got a body length lead under the flags. It looks like she will pick up the heat 1 win in 2:37.63. Rousseau behind her just by about a second and a half at 2:39.26. Up next, heat 2. Top seed coming into the second heat is Nolan McCarty in 4 out of the University of Toronto. A 2:28.11 entry time. Only swimmer entered under 2:30 in this heat. Our just outside of that seed with a 2:30.01 out of the University of Montreal. Van Harris. She will lead the way through 50 at 33.90. These two in 4 and 5 trying to separate themselves from the field early in Heat 2. Your first of 3 circle seated heats in the 200 breaststroke this morning. Aaron starts to pull away just a bit here. He'll turn at 1:11.67 at the halfway point. Check display with 50 meters to go at 38.90, turning it a 1:51.72. So right within striking distance to go inside 2:30. It's a great last 50 here. She will take the Heat 2 win at 2:29.86, getting under that 2:30 mark. Second will go to Noah McCarty at 2:31.45. And Bazzino will take third at 2:32.34, rounding out your top 3 in Heat 2 of the women's 200 breaststroke. Two more heats in the women's 200 breaststroke up next, Heat 3. Time coming into this third heat, 2:26.93 for the University of Toronto's Chloe Danks. And she's out to an early lead, about a body length as we come up on the 50-meter mark. 33.17 and looking really controlled in 4 is Chloe Danks. About a body length lead for Danks in 4 over Pang in 5. As Heat 2 start to separate themselves from the field in Heat 3. A 1:10.16, the fastest opening 100 we've seen this morning. Still in the lead, but Pang putting together a great third 50, starting to get up on the hip of Chloe Danks. And the splits on that third 50 will tell that story. About a half second picked up from Pang in 5. Stroke rate from Pang. Chloe Dang struck the holder off with 25 meters to go in heat 3 of this 200 breaststroke prelim. Emery Pang entered with a 2:29.83, and it looks like she might get the win here, and she does in 2:27.59. Right behind her at 2:27.79 is Chloe Danks out of the University of Toronto. What a great race in heat 3 this morning.
Let's go Westford!
Up next is your fourth and final heat of the women's 200 breaststroke. We talked earlier this morning about how many records were set yesterday. We've already seen one this morning, and we mentioned one Canadian senior record in a breaststroke event, and it is by Alexandre Lopez, a 104.1 in the 100 breaststroke. She's seated with a 2:19.84. Out in a controlled 33.15 this morning. Broke that 100 breaststroke Canadian senior record last night, and then was interviewed by Anna Mae Pierce, who is your Canadian senior record holder in the 200 breaststroke at 2:16.83, and your U Sports Championship record holder at 2:18.59. In control through the 100 is Alexandre Lepage at 1:10.84. Emma Spence in 5 and Ella Collins in 3, trying to stay on her hip as we move through this third 50. We get representatives from Calgary, Ottawa, and UBC to the admin desk. Calgary, Ottawa, and UBC to the admin desk. A little over a body length lead now in lane 4 for Alexandre Lopez. Through the 1:49.16 at the 150. Spence second right now in a great fight for third between Jenna Wall. The win will go to Alexandre Lepage at 2:26.91. Second does go to Emma Spence at 2:29.65. And rounding out your top 3, Nina Mullen out of 6 at 2:30.79. University of New Brunswick, Montreal, and McGill representatives to the admin desk. Thank you. A finalist leading the way, Alexandre Lepage at 2:26.91. Tina will lead the way in the B final at 2:32.34. Tightly packed bunch there. And a whole lot of 2:37s and 2:38s in the C finals. We're set up for some great racing tonight. More leading the way in that A final. Your youth sports and senior Canadian record holder, Alexandre Lepage, in that 100 breaststroke from last night.
Go Rowan!
Up next, the stage is set for event 16, men's 200 breaststroke. This is heat 1. Top speed coming into this first of 4 heats in the men's 200 breaststroke. Rowan Weed out of Western University at 2:16.93. Triffidic leading the way out of lane 5 right now, but a big push from Zhang in 6 on this second 50 so far. And it will be Victor Zhang in lane 6, leading the way at 1:03.67 through halfway. We've got a trio of breaststrokers fighting for first, second, and third at the front of this pack in heat 1 right now. $139, $139, $139 for your top 3 with 50 meters to go. Victor Zhang made a move on that second 50, and he's trying to hold off the charging top 3. Zhang still in first, but Charlie Trefimic might have a little bit of momentum going into this last 25 of the first heat. It looks like he will take our first heat at 2:15.59. With Zhang just about a second behind him at 2:16.78, taking second. Up next, your first of 3 circle-seated heats in the men's 200 breaststroke. This is Heat 2. Well, it might sound odd bringing up a U Sports record in the prelim, but after what we've watched the last few sessions here in Markham, we're going to go ahead and bring it up because Tanner Cole has entered at a 209.70 in your U Sports record by Mike Brown in 2009, a 207.58. Logan Milne leading the way through 50 meters at 30.25. It was Tanner Cole second at 30.32. Logan Milne putting together a great first 100 though, about a half body length lead over your top seed in this heat. He'll turn at 103.85 with Cole just behind him still at 104.14. University of Toronto's Logan Milne putting together a great 200 breaststroke so far, still leading through 125 meters. Tanner Cole starting to challenge out of lane 4. And he will take the lead just by a hair going into the last 50. Tanner Cole turns at 137.82. We're looking at about a 2:11 prelim here. As Logan Milne starts to fight back on this last 50 and try to challenge Tanner Cole. But Cole picks up his stroke rate and he will take this heat win at 2:11.94. What a swim out of lane 2. Logan Milne at 2:12.89. Great race between those two in Heat 2 of this men's 200 breaststroke prelim. Up next, event 16, men's 200 breaststroke, Heat 3. We brought up that U Sports record at 207.58 for a reason. Top seeds in these next 2 heats, both seated under 208. Heat 3, lane 4 right now, Nathan Thomas at the University of Toronto, seated at 207.96. As your top 3 all turn at 29 low, opening up this 200 breaststroke prelim. A quick first 50 out of Heat 3. Great battle in 4 and 5. That's Toronto's Thomas and UBC's Vanderlock in 5. They'll turn 1-2, just 100th of a second, separating them at 101.91 and 101.92. So take a look at the split on this third 50 as they open 101.9 and a pair of 32.8s. The third 50 split of 33.18 for Nathan Thomas at 135.09. If he can close in a 33.1, he'll be 208 low. A quick third heat underway here. And a great last 50 underway from Nathan Thomas out of the University of Toronto in lane 4. Keep an eye on the clock. That is a quick prelim 208.23 for Nathan Thomas. And a 210.62 for Sebastian Vanderlock out of UBC. Our first sub 210 performance of the morning goes to Nathan Thomas out of Heat 3. Setting the tone as we move into our fourth and final heat of event 16. Men's 200 breaststroke. Up next, Heat 4. We just saw our first sub 210 performance in the morning, and we could be in store for another one of those as we have a great trio from UBC in the middle of the pool. It's Hemian in 3, Mignot in 4, and Omian in 5. Mignot seated with a 207.68. Exactly 0.1 outside of that U Sports record set by Mike Brown in 09 of a 207.58. He's out 28.79. If we've learned anything from this first prelim session yesterday, it's that don't expect records to only fall at night. As Justice Mignot is out 101.39. A 32.6 second 50 split. His teammates running second and third right now as he's built about a body length and a half lead on this field. Important third 50 split to check here. As he turns at 134.32, splitting a 32.93. If he can close in 33.0, we could be seeing a U Sports record in prelims. "25 meters to go." He can hear you every time he breathes. A 207.58 is what to keep your eyes on. Justice Mignot. In Heat 4 of the men's 200 breaststroke prelim will go 208.02. A 211.07 will take second out of lane 5 for Omiyan. And Hemian will take third out of lane 3 at 211.45 as we are set for a great final tonight. Do a disqualification report. Event 16, Heat 3, Lane 7, disqualified for a turn. Event 16, Heat 3, Lane 7, disqualified on the turn. results up on the board. We're going to reset and try to get those made right. There's a look at the action we've still got coming the way. And there we go. 2:08.02 leading the way for Justice Mignon. Right behind him, Nathan Thomas at a 2:08.23. We're set for a great A final in the men's 200 breaststroke tonight.
On demande l'entraîneur de l'Université de Montréal, s'il vous plaît, au bureau d'administration. Université de Montréal. Merci.
Up next, event 17, women's 400 freestyle heat 1. Heat 1 of 4 in the water in the women's 400 freestyle. So Lindsay Gordon leads the way through 50 for UBC. Stanilovic in two, staying with her as we come up on the 100-meter mark. We're set up for a pretty great race here in the first heat of this women's 400 free as they turn 1/10 of a second apart. Gordon entered at a 4:29.84. Stanilovic tries to take the lead on this third 50. And she will, splitting 32.75. Starting to make a move here as we move towards the 200, the halfway point of this 400 freestyle. The third year out of the University of Toronto, really making a move here, trying to separate herself from this field. Turn at 2:07.22 at the 200. A quick opening 200 in this first heat. still breaking away from the field, picking up about 0.8 of a second there on that 50. She moves to about a 2 body length lead with 125 meters to go. Race for second starting to heat up as Michaud puts together a great 50 split there, 33.58. Fastest split in the field coming out of lane 6 on that 50. 100 meters to go, but it is still Stanovic in 2. .50 meters to go and turning to 3:48.62. Made a move at about the 100-meter point and hasn't looked back. Got a 25-meter sprint to close out this 400 for the race for second. Breathing right at each other, but Caitlin Stanilovic out of Toronto will pick up the heat win in 4:22.56. 4:25.98 and a 4:26.16 from Michaud and Gordon, respectively. A fast opening heat, well under their entry times. One heat done there in event 17, the women's 400 freestyle on the blocks now. Up next, heat number 2. Top seeded a 4:22.82 coming into this prelim out of McGill University, Kaylee McLeod. Claire Bennett out of 3, looking to establish the pace early here in heat 2. Out 29.6 at the 50 to the feet. Third year out of the University of Calgary, about a body length lead on the field as we come up on 100 meters, turning at 1:02.01. The rest of the field still tightly bunched behind her as she tries to open up a lead here. Still in control is Calgary's Claire Bennett in lane 3, but the field is starting to creep up just a bit. Wilson, Estabrooks, and Gagnon in 5, 6, and 7 in that chase pack, trying to run down Claire Bennett after she's built up a little bit of a lead. They'll continue to close that distance, but it is still Claire Bennett at 2:09.36 through 200 meters. That chasing group in 5, 6, and 7 has been about 1/100th of a second apart between the three of them this whole race. Claire Bennett breathing towards them, trying to hold them off. 150 meters to go, and it seems the pack has joined the leader. Isabel Gagnon in 7, putting together a great 50 there. Now she's trying to break away from this pack. 100 meters to go. What do these athletes have left in the tank to try to make a move on this field that has been tightly bunched throughout? Gagnon, Estabrooks, and Wilson in 7, 6, and 5 respectively, putting on a show in Heat 2 of the women's 400 freestyle. As they all turn at 350 and some numbers after that. They're all within a second. 25 meters to go, and Isabel Gagnon out of the University of Laval has built up a lead. Does anybody have anything left to try to run her down? Wilson in 5 trying to make a push, but Isabel Gagnon will get the win at 4:22.34. Anna Estabrooks will take second at 4:22.89, and third goes to Cora Wilson at 4:23.02. What a race in Heat 2 of the women's 400 freestyle. Up next and behind the blocks, event 17, women's 400 freestyle. This is heat number 3. Heat 3 of 4 in the water in the women's 400 freestyle prelim. This is your first of 2 circle-seated heats in this event. Ruby Keller leading the way in terms of entry times out of UBC at 4:11.40. Katie Maravino out of the University of Toronto looks like she might have the lead through 100, and she will at 1:02.09. Most of the field turning at 1:02. No one quite breaking away from the pack yet. Maravino still in the lead as Tremblay starts to try to close the distance, but still no one really breaking too far away from this pack here. So we come up on the halfway point. It looks like it will be Tremblay in 5, turning at 2:07.96. Just a few tenths of a second in front of Katie Maravino. Ruby Keller in 4 out of UBC, trying to hang with Maravino and Tremblay in 3 and 5. Rafael Tremblay absolutely making a move here after the 200 and trying to break off some distance from this running pack in 4 and 3. Tremblay had the fastest split in the field on that last 50, but not far behind her at a 32.6 was Ruby Keller. Does she have something left in the tank to try to run down Rafael Tremblay, who has jumped out to about a half body length lead? 3:13, 3:14, 3:14, a tightly bunched field. But it is still Rafael Tremblay out of the University of Laval. Body length lead is going to be a lot to overcome for Ruby Keller with just 50 meters to go. But she's starting to eat into that deficit just a bit. A 31.95, fastest split in the field coming out of lane 4 now. That's Ruby Keller. UBC's Ruby Keller trying to prove me wrong here and put together a great last 50. A tight race under the flags and a great final 50, as this heat win will go to Ruby Keller, closing in 30.53 to go 4:16.89. Just behind her at 4:17.08 is Rafael Tremblay. And Katie Maravino takes third at 4:18.79. What a race there in heat 3 of the women's 400 freestyle. One heat to go in event 17, the women's 400 freestyle. It is your 4th and final heat, heat 4. Top seed time coming into the women's 400 freestyle. Overall, a 4:09.04, and it's Emma O'Croynan in lane 4 of UBC, and she'll lead the way through 50 at 28.65. U Sports record, a quick 4:02.76, set by Savannah King in 2012. Smooth freestyle through 100 meters for your leader in 4, Emma O'Croynan. Iris Tinmouth right behind her at 1:00:42. Trying not to let Emma O'Croyden get too far away. And they flip tied at the 150. O'Croyden and Tinmouth both at 1:32:48 for UBC and McGill. Tinmouth did have the fastest split on that last 50. And it looks like O'Croyden has fought back a little bit here. I wouldn't be shocked to see him flip again and be tied, and they're just outside of that. 0.08 separating your top two right now in Heat 4 of this women's 400 freestyle. UBC's Emma O'Croyden making a move here after the 200 and picking up about a 3/4 body length lead. And she'll throw down a 31.4 to pick up about a second over Iris Tinmouth, who has been consistent at 32 mid over the last few 50s. Tinmouth seated at a 4:13.32, O'Croyden a 4:09.04. Meters to go in this fourth and final heat of the women's 400 freestyle. And in control is Emma O'Croyden, splitting a 31.4. Definitely making a move after the halfway point. But another 32 mid from Iris Tinmouth out of McGill University. Tightly bunched field in the race for third. We're going to see a lot of white water behind these athletes on the last 50 as they fight for positioning in tonight's finals. Emma O'Croyden has been in control since the 200 mark. And it will stay that way as she goes under the flags. And we'll turn in a 4:11.94 to pick up the heat win. A 4:15.30 will pick up second for Iris Tinmouth. And what a race for third. Quartet of 4:19s were the fastest of the bunch at 4:19.30. Going to Natasha Frost out of lane 0. Up next, we have a swim-off in the men's 50 freestyle. You can see the names on the board to your left. We've got 3 athletes here. They were all tied at 23:05 earlier this morning. I always say swim-offs are about as fun as it gets in the sport. Maybe just over-topped by a 400 freestyle relay like we saw last night. But a three-way swim-off in the 50 freestyle, all three at 23:05 earlier today. And all three tightly bunched right now. With Boussillon maybe getting the win in 5, and he will at 22:93. Second at 23:01 will be Boulajoul out of 4. As all three of those athletes go faster than they were earlier today. Up next, we are set and ready for event 18. The men's 400 freestyle will have 4 heats, and this is heat 1. Jared Bontat in lane 4 out of Brock University, your top seed coming into this tightly bunched group at 3:58.95. A lot of these athletes just outside of breaking that 4-minute mark. So definitely going after that in this prelim. A trio of 56s in 1, 3, and 6. That's Mionis, Maureen, and Lacoste. No one quite breaking away just yet. Got a group of 4 leading this field out. They'll turn at 1:26 and change. That's still Demetrius Mionis in lane number 1 out of the University of Victoria. He's entered at a 4:06.60, but well under pace early to go faster than that. We've got a tie through halfway at 1:56.82 in lanes 1 and 3. That's Mionis and Marin. Marin splits sub 30 on that 50. The only one in the field under 30 on that split. But Mionis has answered on that 50 after the 200. He splits 30.33, the fastest 50 in the field, only actually behind Moran in 3. We've got a great battle developing in lanes 1 and 3. A 2:56.93 with 100 meters to go as William Moran puts together a great 400 freestyle in heat 1. A huge kick from Moran in 3 as he breaks away from this field as a body length lead. With 50 meters to go at 3:27.02. Splits 30.09. anything under 30 on the way home, and he's going 3:56 or better. William Moran made a move, and he has kept that pressure on under the flags with just about 3 meters to go, and he will go 3:57.24 to pick up the win in Heat 1. Demetrius Maionis also goes sub 4 at 3:59.59. Up next, event 18, men's 400 freestyle. This is Heat 2. David Harvey, your top seed coming into this heat. The trio of 150 or 356 is in the middle of the pool. 2 of them out of Dalhousie, and 3 that's Sparks, and 4 Harvey. As a fan of swimming, it doesn't get much better than watching a 400 freestyle, as you can see a lot of different race strategies implemented. Who's going to go after it early? Who's going to make a move at 200? And what do they have left with 100 meters to go? Liam Dennett seems to be putting the pressure on early in lane 1 at 55.24. But Peyton Pierce not far behind him in lane 6, as he split 28.8 on that last 50. And they'll still be 1-2 in that order. Peyton Pierce in 6 did have the fastest split on that 50. We might see a lead change here as we come up on the halfway point. I mentioned that you might see some race strategies implemented. The first moves typically made right after these gentlemen flip at this wall. So 154.72 in lane 6 for Peyton Pierce. A 155.22 just behind him for Liam Dennett, as these two continue to battle across the pool in this 400 free. We mentioned we might see some moves made, and one of them was by Peyton Pierce at 29.18 on that last 50. Torin Vandersteen in 2, also sub 30. Peyton Pierce still in control, with Patrick McCoy right behind him at 29.6 on that last 50, looking to close distance. $50 meters to go in Heat 2, this men's 400 freestyle, and it looks like we might have a late charge coming out of Patrick McCoy in 5, trying to run down Peyton Pierce. Did Pierce build too much of a lead, or does McCoy have the closing speed to be able to make it a fight? McCloy throwing everything he has in this last 25. Pierce trying to not let him close. And Peyton Pierce will hold off the late charge and go 3:54.16 to pick up the Heat 2 win. Second will go to Patrick McCloy, closing in 29:27 to go 3:54.65. Up next, event 18, men's 400 freestyle. This is Heat 3. Our first of two circle-seated heats is turning through 100 meters. Zachary Bowie out of the University of Calgary leading the way through 100 at 55.19. Hugo Janvier out of the University of Laval also in the battle for first, as a lot of this group turns at 124 through 150. Raphael Blamont in lane 4 of the University of Montreal, seated with a 3:48.72. It's still Hugo Janvier in 5. We've got a lot of different guys in this heat challenging for the lead. As we move past the 200 mark, some moves being made. Hugo Janvier still in the lead, but Olivier Risk right behind him. Janvier in 29.02 on that last 50. Your top two turn almost tied, but really your top four all in a really tight race. As Raphael Blamont tries to make it a 5-man race with just 100 meters to go. It looks like maybe the slight advantage to Olivier Risk in 3. Too close to call going into the flip turn, and look at the late surge from Raphael Blamont in 4. We're gonna have a 25-meter sprint at the end of this 400 free, with maybe the slight advantage going to Olivier Risk. But Raphael Blamont is gonna be a lot to hold off. Trying to do that is Olivier Risk, and into the wall. Risk will get the win. at 3:49.67. Levant second at 3:49.86. And Hugo Janvier does round out your top three in a tie at 350.43 with Laurier Lafontaine-Guillier. Fourth and final heat of the men's 400 freestyle is behind the blocks. This is heat 4. Paul Ebrard in 1, trying to make an early move on this fourth and final heat. Your second of 2 circle-seeded heats with Zach Parise in 4 out of UBC, your top seed coming into it at 3:46.01. A quick opening 50 from Paul Ebrard in 1. 53.74. He talks about race strategy. Well, this one's pretty apparent. Grab the lead and hold on to it. Ebrard looking smooth and in control, about a body length lead on the field. He's bringing Aiden Yorthy with him in 0 in this middle group in 3, 4, and 5, trying to not let him get too far away. The split at the 200 will be a 151.72. About a second and a half lead on Aiden Yorthy in 0, and then the chasing pack about 2 seconds behind those two. Aiden Yorthy hanging tough in lane 0 for the University of Calgary, as Paul Ebrard tries to hang on to the lead that he built early for UBC. This group in the middle of the pool starting to reel these guys in as we come up on the 300 mark with just 100 meters to go. Ebrard still has the lead at 251.60, but not by much anymore as the momentum is now with the pack. Aiden Kirk out of 5, splitting a 28.99 on that last 50. And it looks like the momentum will be with Aiden Kirk in lane 5, splitting sub 29 again at 320.80 with just 50 meters to go. A tightly bunched group, all vying for not only a heat win, but for positioning in tonight's finals with big points on the line and prelims to secure those spots. The win will go to Aiden Kirk in lane 5 at 3:48.53 with a trio of 3:49s behind him. Out of lane 6, 0, and 3. That's Matsei, Yorfi, and Valentin. They're your A finalists led by Aiden Kirk, who you just saw at 3:48.53. We're in store for a really quick A final tonight. Briere Lafontaine-Guiguer leads the way at 3:50.43 and a tie with Hugo Janvier in the B final. And you got a great trio at 17, 18, and 19. Then a bunch of 3:57s in that C final as we are in store for some fun 400 freestyles tonight. Up next, we've got another swim off, this time in the women's 50 freestyle. Up next, heat 1 of 1. University of Calgary in 4 with Miriam Hickey, and in 5 out of the University of Lethbridge, Meadow Liversuck. Both going 26-22 earlier today. It looks like the advantage might be Meadow Liversuck in 5, but it's tightening up under the flags in just 5/100ths of a second, separating your top two here. 26:02, both of them going faster than earlier today, with Meadow Liversuck getting the win at 26:02. Up next, event 19, women's 100 backstroke. We'll have 4 heats. This is heat 1. Four heats on the way in the women's 100 backstroke. 1 of 4 in the water. These will go by quick. Leading the way at the 25 seems to be Ashley Coe out of McMaster University. Underwater is so important on the 100 backstroke, especially in the short course pool. A great turn in lane 4 for Shayna Tierney out of the University of Victoria. Entry time of 1:03.98. She turns at 30.77. Puts together some good turns. She could be right around that, if not better. Another great turn out of Shayna Tierney in 4. Trying to fight back in 3 out of McMaster's Ashley Coe. As they go 1:03.31 for Shayna Tierney. And right behind her at 1:03.55 is Ashley Coe. Up next, we are set and ready for event 19, women's 100 backstroke heat 2. First of 3 circle-seated heats on the way. Top entry time, the only time under a minute coming into this out of Brock University is Tatum O'Connor. She's seated at 59.92. And she'll lead the way out of lane 4, turning it at 29.11 with your top 3 all sub 30, and by quite a bit to the feet going out. Brock University's Tatum O'Connor still leading the way through 75. But just by a bit. Mariah Cossack in 5, also having a great swim, but it will go to Tatum O'Connor at 1:00.97. Cossack goes 1:01.51 for second. And Borromeo goes 1:01.84, rounding out your top 3. Up next, this is Heat 3. Top seed coming into this third of 4 heats out of McGill University, Rebecca McGrath, 59.78. But Piper Mitchell out of UBC putting together a great opening 50. And she'll turn it 28-78. Entry time of 1:00:46, definitely under pressure here, and so is the 1 minute barrier if you're turning at 28-7. Grafton-Ford starting to pick up some ground on Piper Mitchell, but the lead looks like it's going to be too big from the first 50. And she will pick up the win at 59-60, going under a minute by quite a bit. Also sub 1 minute right next to is Rebecca McGrath at 59-98. But a great swim from Piper Mitchell, going well under a minute, 59-60. Up next and ready to jump in the water, event 19 women's 100 backstroke. This is your fourth and final heat. Top entry time coming into this heat, and top entry time overall in the event is Bridget Burton in lane 4 out of UBC of 58-38. And she's already built a body length lead on this fourth and final heat of the women's 100 backstroke, out 27-88. Bridget Burton wasting no time getting after this 100 backstroke prelim for UBC. A tight race for second, but this heat belongs to Bridget Burton out of UBC. Second looks like it might be Abigail McKinley in 6, but Bridget Burton gets the win at 58-61. Second does go to University of Ottawa's Abigail McKinley out of lane 6 at 1:00:65. And Hannah Johnson will get third at 1:01:16. There is your A final leading the way. Bridget Burton at 58-61 with a duo behind her, also sub 1 minute. Iona Brophy leading the way in the B final at 1:01:06 with a trio of sub 1:02 performances. And Avery Mitchell will lead the way in the C final as we have a tightly bunched field, all vying for points in that race tonight. Up next, we have another swim off, this time in the men's 50 freestyle. All three of these swimmers going 22:46 earlier today and tying for 7th. Important swim right now and a big swim in lane 5. That's Addison Butler, and he's going to take the win in 21:97. Going sub 22 and well quicker than he was earlier in the prelims today. Up next, event 20, the men's 100 backstroke. We're going to have 4 heats, and this is heat 1. Leading the way in this first heat by about a body length as we come up on the 50-meter mark is Boucher out of McGill University. He turns at 26:57. Entry time for Boucher of 57:34. But on pace to go well quicker than that. Boucher under the flags, and he will pick up the win in 54:92. Way under his entry time of 57:34. So a huge drop in heat 1 from McGill University's Charles-Antoine Boucher. Heat 2 out of the 4 in the men's 100 backstroke is behind the blocks. Up next, heat 2. top seed coming into the second heat in lane 4, Raven Dahmen out of UBC, seeded with a 52.25. And he'll turn at 25.20 at the 50. A great turn from Dahmen in 4 for UBC. The U Sports Championship record of 51.57. And a big swim underway in the prelims for Raven Dahmen as he goes 51.33 and breaks the U Sports Championship record. Up next, we're ready for Heat 3. We're set for a really fast 100 backstroke boat this morning and already tonight. As Heat 3 is underway, we got a lot of speed in the middle of the pool. University of Toronto, Benjamin Winterborn, the top entry at 52.21, but we know that Kai Lilienthal at UBC can absolutely move as well. They're out 25-20 and 25-28 at the halfway point. Competitive with what we just saw in the previous heat. They're going to need a great last 25, but we just saw a U Sports Championship record. Could we see another 51.97 for Benjamin Winterborn, our second sub-52 swim of the morning. Next, your fourth and final heat of the men's 100 backstroke, Heat 4. Well, we've already seen a U Sports record broken this morning, and in this event, Raven Dahmen a 51.33. Entry time, though, in lane 4 of Heat 4 here from the University of Toronto, Andrew Herman a 51.35. And he's out 24.77, which is well within striking distance of the record that was just set a couple heats ago. Once again, a 51.33, the time to keep an eye as Andrew Herman closes into the wall and goes 51-78. Our third sub-52 swim of the morning. With Loic Corville-Fortin taking second at 52-37. And a tie for third at 53-64 between Rocco and Ginzer in 2 and 3. So there is your A final, which is going to be an absolute blast to watch tonight. A new U Sports record one more time. Raven Dahmen 51-33 in a trio of sub-52 swims. Tristan Goyer leads the way in the B final for McGill at 53-69. And Augustine Bouchillon leads the way in the C for McGill at 55-26. Up next, we're ready for event 22, the women's 200 individual medley. We'll have 4 heats. This is heat 1. Four heats on the way in this women's 200 individual medley this morning. Paige Dooling leads the entry times into this first heat out of lane 4 for the University of Victoria. She's at 2:23.51. The 200 and 400 IM, likely the races where you might see the most lead changes. You'll see some athletes get after it early on those butterfly and backstroke legs, and the breaststrokers try to close distance. And then more often than not, the last 50, you're just throwing everything you've got to try to get your hand on the wall first. Leah Bloom out of Western University leading the way through 100. At 106.94. As Paige Dooling puts together a great breaststroke split and will take the lead with 50 meters to go. 40.7 the split for Dooling will be enough to put her in the lead by about a 3/4 of a body length. And with 25 meters to go, Paige Dooling is going to be tough to catch in this first heat of the 200 IM. Dooling entered at a 2:23.51. And she'll be under that at 2:21.74 to pick up your win in the first heat of the 200 IM. The 2:23.07 for Brianna Mebbs takes second. Monica Ianeva will round out your top three. Up next, event 21, women's 200 IM. This is heat 2. So 3 circle-seated heats on the way in this women's 200 IM prelim. A lot of sub 220 entry times in the middle of the pool, with Jade Lowe out of UBC getting after this one early at 28.74 through 50 meters. Half the heat sub 30 through 50. As Jade Lowe looks to break away from this field. Abby Baylor not letting her get away quite yet in 4, though. Baylor, your top seed in 4. She comes into this at 2:15.18. That duo will turn just 0.6 apart from one another at the halfway point. With the fastest split in the field going to Baylor at 34.39. As Jade Lowe tries to fight back on this breaststroke leg and rebuild a little bit of a lead. Abby not letting her get away quite yet, though. And it's going to be a 50-meter sprint between your top 2. With Vizina trying to stay in that top 3. Top 2 turning at 1:43 with 50 meters to go. 31 will put them underneath their entry times. As Jade Lowe puts together a great last 50 and will build a body length lead. There's a great race for second heating up, but Jade Lowe picks up the win at 2:14.67. With Baylor taking second at 2:16.11, and rounding out your top 3 is Vizina at 2:16.41. Up next, event 21, women's 200 individual medley. This is heat 3. UBC's Cameron Standard leads the way in 4. Entered with a 2:14.46. As the Butterflyers jump out to early leads here at 29.18. That's Natalie Day in lane 6 out of McGill University. Got a bunch breaking away here through the halfway point. Your leader out of lane 6 will still be Natalie Day. Out of McGill, she turns at 104.28. As Emma Spence in 5 out of UBC tries to close distance here, and she already has. A great breaststroke leg being put together by Emma Spence in 5. Trying to stay with her in 3 is Maya McGann. But McGill with a big swim. 2 big swims in this heat right now. Still leading the way is Natalie Day in 6. Emma Spence doing everything she can to try to close the distance. With 25 meters to go. It looks like Emma Spence is going to take this heat win, and she will at 2:15.91. Second will go to Maya McGann out of lane 3 at 2:16.44. And rounding out your top 3, Natalie Day out of lane 6, also out of McGill University, going 2:16.80. Up next, event 21, women's 200 individual medley. This is heat 4. Top entry time in event 21 is out of this heat. Heat number 4, lane 4, University of Toronto, Nina Mullen. A 2:13.46 entry time. And she'll be out quick at 28.99. More than half the field sub 30 after the fly leg. Sarah Haugen in 3 out of the University of Calgary, staying with Nina Mullen right now. So at the halfway point, it will be Mullen turning at 103.23. Solid prelim swim underway out of lane 4, and Nina Mullen about a body length lead over Sarah Haugen in 3 as she tries to stay on her hip as we come up to the last 50. Meters to go, and it has been the way that it currently is pretty much this whole heat, and making it even closer under the flags. Sarah Haugen will take second at 2:14.75, just in front of her. Nina Mullen at 2:14.54. What a race in that heat 4 prelim of the women's 200 IM. There's your A final leading the way. Nina Mullen at the University of Toronto, 2:14.54. A quick top heat. Jessica Thabarge leading the way at 2:18.60 in your B final. And Sydney Stewart will be your top seed in tonight's C final for Toronto at 2:21.30. Great finals in store in the women's 200 IM tonight. We'll have 3 quick heats once again with Nina Mullen leading the way at 2:14.54. Up next, event 22, men's 200 individual medley. We'll have 4 heats, and this is heat 1. We've got a full first heat. This men's 200 IM prelim. Robin Domingo in 5 out of McGill University leading the way through 50. He'll turn it at 26.14. Robin Domingo putting a lot of pace into this first 100. Alexander Lalonde out of Victoria in 7, trying to stay with them as we have 3 all at 57 and change through halfway. Alejandro Gigi putting together a great breaststroke leg, already closing a lot of distance on the field. And Alejandro will turn first with 50 meters to go at 1:33.62 with a trio right behind him. McGill University leading this first heat right now. As Alejandro Gigi tries to hold off this pack, and he'll do it in a time of 2:03.41. Second at 2:04.06 will be Keenan Gander. And third will go to Alexander Lalonde at 2:04.08. Up next, men's 200 IM. This is Heat 2. Ian Cameron will lead the way through 50 meters. Right behind him, Tyler Blage. Jack Harrison, your top qualifier, top seed rather, coming into this heat at 1:59.77, the first year out of UBC. And a great turn there for Harrison will likely put him in the lead through the halfway point. And he will turn at 55.46, just in front of Calgary's Ian Cameron. And what a turn and breaststroke leg being put together by Calgary's Ian Cameron in 5. Ian Cameron, a great breaststroke leg, giving him the lead, but challenging for that lead now in 3 is Isaac Allen. And Allen with a great turn, putting together a great freestyle leg. It looks like he will pick up the second heat win by about a body length, going 1:59.14. Ian Cameron takes second at 2:00.22, and rounding out your top 3, Jack Harrison at 2:00.43. Up next, event 22, men's 200 individual medley. This is heat 3. Top entry time coming into this heat is University of Toronto's Benjamin Lowen. But Nicholas Duncan going to lead the way out of lane 3 at 25.08 through 50. Andrew Coombs putting together a great backstroke leg in lane 2, and that'll move him up into the second place position as we move through 100 meters. Still leading Benjamin Lowen in 4 at 54.86. Your lead trio turning almost even with 75 meters to go. Cameron James Carlisle joins your lead group. We're going to have 4 guys vying for position on this last 50 meters. Leading the way out of 4 is Benjamin Lowen. But what a race for second place right behind him. And don't count out Andrew Coombs as he tries to get in front of Benjamin Lowen. With just a couple meters to go, it's going to be really close. And just about a 1/10 of a second separating first and second. First will go to Benjamin Lowen at 1:58.46. Andrew Coombs right behind him at 1:58.59. What a race there. And our third heat, the men's 200 IM prelims. Up next, your fourth and final heat of the men's 200 individual medley. McGill University's Corville Fortin in lane 4, your top qualifier, top seed overall coming into this men's 200 IM. Entered at a 157.57. Elijah Daly might lead the way through 50, and he will at 25.37. These two are breaking away from the field. It's Corville Fortin leads the way just barely. These two are as good as tied through 50. Elijah Daly of the University of Toronto looks to be building a little bit of a lead on this first 25 of breaststroke. Now about a body length lead for Toronto's Elijah Daly over Louis Corville Fortin. And a lot of energy left in the tank for Elijah Daly as he puts together a great swim here in our fourth and final heat. Corville Fortin trying to do everything he can to run him down. But Daly's lead just might be a little too big. Corville Fortin closing the distance, however, on these last 25 meters. And he will get it by 1/100th of a second at 1:59.36. Elijah Daly just behind him, as mentioned, 1/100th, 1:59.37. What a race to end our men's 200 IM prelims. Benjamin Loam will lead the way in your A final at 1:58.46, with 5 of the top 8 going sub 2 minutes. Nicholas Duncan leads the way for Calgary in the B final at 2:00.54. And Matthew Sergianis will lead the way for Calgary with a question mark next to his name, which, if you know swimming, you know what that means, at a 2:03.2 for Matthew Sergianis. Up next, event 23, women's 50 butterfly. Will have 7 heats in this women's 50 fly. Up first, heat 1. First of 7 heats underway here in the women's 50 fly. It looks like Rashad will get it out of lane 5 at 28.77 in a tightly bunched field. Up next, event 23, women's 50 butterfly. This is heat 2. D2 in the water. Annabelle Jackson leading the way for University of Ottawa at 28.78 coming into this. .50 butterfly is typically too close to call. Maybe a slight edge in 4 for Jackson. And she will get it at 28.56. Natasha Borrero taking second at 28.73. And Moran rounding out your top 3 at 28.87 out of lane 3. Up next in event 23, women's 50 butterfly. This is heat 3. E3 in the water, 28.19 top entry time out of lane 4, University of Brunswick's Hannah McLeod. A great swim from Abigail McKinley up in lane number 9, however, and she'll win it at 27.87. Well under her entry time of 28.69. The only swimmer sub 28 in that heat, and what a swim from the outside lane. Up next in event 23, women's 50 butterfly, this is heat 4. Melanie DiMaria out of McGill University, your top seed, and looks to be leading right now in a great race in 5 with Olivia Johnson. And she will take the win out of lane 4 at 27.70 from Melanie DiMaria. Olivia Johnson takes second at 27.86 and also sub 28. Daria Jade Fourier out of lane number 9 from McGill University. Up next in event 23, the women's 50 butterfly. This is going to be heat 5. So Stila West leading your entry times in this heat with 4 UBC swimmers and 3, 4, 5, and 6. Top entry time at 26:79 as this UBC quartet powers through this heat. It goes 26:67 in lane 4 for Stila West. Rosie Garcia takes second at 26:81, and Brooklyn Weems will take third as UBC goes 1, 2, 3, 4 in heat number 5. Two heats remain in the women's 50 butterfly prelims, and this is the first of 2 left. It's heat 6. Top entry time at 26:72 from Sydney Hardman out of Western University in 4. And she's out quick in lane 4 right now. Great first 25 for Sydney Hardman. And we'll check the time on this. 26:63. What, about a 1/10 of a second quicker than her entry time, going sub 27. Picking up the heat 6 win. Second goes to Vanderleegen 6 at 27:02. Third at 27:34 for Kosick out of lane 3. Up next will be your 7th and final heat of event 23, the women's 50 butterfly. Seventh and final heat in the women's 50 butterfly underway. Tops time coming into it at 26:05 for Eloise Allen out of UBC in the middle of the pool. And she'll go 26:09 to pick up the top spot going into tonight's final. Also going sub 27 is Michelle Wang out of lane 5 at 26:94. They're your A finalists with a good majority of the group going sub 27. Leading the way, Eloise Allen out of UBC at 26:09. Annika Cameron leads the way in the B final at a 27:17. The entire B final goes sub 28. Alexandra Bertram leads the way in the C final, with the entire C final also going sub 28 in a quick prelim in the women's 50 butterfly. next, event 24, your final prelims. Event of the morning, men's 50 butterfly will have 7 heats, and this is heat 1. Heat 1 of 7 underway here in event 24, the men's 50 butterfly. Looks like Joel Randall might have the slight edge under the flags. And he will get it at 25:41, way under his entry time. And a quick first heat swim at this men's 50 butterfly. Up next in event 24, your men's 50 butterfly prelims, heat number 2. Noah Taylor of the University of Ottawa, 25:49 entry time out of lane number 4. A great turn for Noah Taylor might give him the heat win here as well, and he'll get it at 25:20. 0.3 quicker than the entry time there. As Grafimic out of lane 7 goes 25:54 for second, and Waddle out of 6 will take third. Up next at event 24, men's 50 butterfly, heat 3. Top entry time in heat 3 out of lane 4. Vincent Lavoie entered with a 25:23. Barnado in 3 putting together a great 50 fly, however, and he'll take the win at 24:10 for Western University. A great swim out of heat 3 for Connor Barnado. Four heats left to go in event 24, the men's 50 butterfly. The first of those 4 is heat 4, and up next, heat 4. McMaster's Lucas Chen, your top seed coming into this. He's entered with a long course time of 25:53. But keep an eye on lane 7, Addison Butler, who will win it at 24:01. Some quick heats this morning in the men's 50 butterfly. Rao takes second at 24:60. As these early heats have applied the pressure as we move into our circle seated heats up next. Three heats left to go in event 24, men's 50 butterfly. Up next, heat 5. First of 3 circle seated heats here in the 50 butterfly. Kurji seated first for the University of Ottawa at 23:40 in lane 4. But he's got a fight on his hands right now. As Aiden Harris out of lane 3 tries to steal the heat, he will at 23:58. As your top 3 all go sub 24. Kurji will take second at 23:67. And Olivier will take third at 23:77. Two heats remain in the event 24 men's 50 butterfly prelims. The first of 2 is heat 6. Sports championship record by Clement Sechi, a 23:05. Eric Ginsberg in 4 for Duke University, seated at a 23:05. Are we going to see another U Sports record broken in prelims? He's got to give it a run. And 23:14 just outside of it. But that record is safe to say it is not safe going into the night already, and we haven't even finished the prelims. The 23:14 for Ginsberg picks up the win in heat 6 with 1 heat to go in the men's 50 butterfly prelims. Up next, heat 7. We mentioned that the U Sports Championship record of 23:05. Well, Kai Lilienthal in lane 4 out of UBC seated with a 22:94. And he's putting together a great 50 fly right now out of lane 4. And he'll go 22:86, breaking the U Sports Championship record in the prelims of the 50 butterfly. Second at a 23:86 goes to Thomas McDonald. And Lynn Eisen takes third at 24:01. And we are set for fireworks tonight in that championship final. Karkoglu leads the way in the B final at 24:03 in a tightly bunched field. Victor Ayong leads the way for Montreal in the C final at 24-52. Fireworks in the prelims and expecting the same tonight. Coach's scratch deadline is 12:48. You have 30 minutes, coaches. 30 minutes scratches.